All right, welcome to the next part of our podcast project, and that's where you're going to start roughing out your script. Okay, and scripts, remember, are the things that you read when you are acting something out. Okay, so we're going to take that research that I just had you working on in the last assignment, and we're going to work on turning it into a rough draft. All right, there's a bunch of different formats you can use for podcasts, and what you use is up to you. I don't actually care all that much, okay, in terms of what format you use. Some you're going to record alone, right? You could talk about this as maybe being a podcast, right, where it's just me and I'm talking to you, right? Others might require a cast, so maybe you've got a second host, or maybe you're going to kind of act something out that's going to demonstrate something. That's what I mean by a cast, like people that help you out. Okay. Just know that if you do choose a format that requires more than one person, you are responsible for recruiting your cast members. So ask your parents, ask your siblings, ask your guardians, ask your grandparents, your friends. I don't actually care who you get, but you're responsible for getting them. Okay, anyone who will help you out. And then if you're not sure about how to format a script, first of all, there's a script example. I should tell you that's got 2 hosts, but it'll give you the basic ideas of formatting. Right? And then we've also got this, calling it the rough draft template. Okay. And it's going to walk you through what you're going to do. And I want you to hand this piece in. All right, so we've got some of the different types up here with explanations so that you've got something to work from. And I did recommend, I can't remember if it was last week or maybe it was this week, that you find some podcasts and listen to them just to kind of give you a feel for how these things work. And they're literally podcasts about everything, right? There are math podcasts and science podcasts and podcasts about politics and podcasts that are short stories and podcasts that are all kinds of things, right? I think at one point this year I had some myths and legends podcasts probably in the Greek unit that I suggested, right? And I think I did with Mesopotamia way back at the beginning of the year, right? So take a listen if you're not sure, if you want to kind of get a better feel for the flow. Lots and lots of options to choose from. All right, so you've got your title of the podcast. You've got what are the different types. If you pick something that's not there, this is pretty comprehensive. Just write it in and circle it. That's fine, whatever. Give me a general description, like big picture, what's the story you want to tell? Okay. What do you want your listeners to understand, or what message do you want to send? Anybody who's ever worked in education or you're trying to teach people things will tell you this is very, very important. That is the equivalent of the destination, right? Where do we want to bring people to? Okay. Who's going to be heard? Is it just going to be you? Is it going to be you and a co-host? Is it going to be you and 5 friends who pretend to be experts? Who's going to be involved? Are you going to use any music or any sound effects? And you don't have to, but you can. Okay. If you want to, feel free. If you don't want to, that's okay too. All right, so your script. It's going to look similar to if you were writing a play, right? If it's just you, the play would be a one-man show, or one-person show, I should say, right? But each speaker's name and their words, right, their lines are on separate lines. Make sure that you tell me where different things are going to happen. All right, so if there's a sound effect or if there's a musical interlude, I had kids last year with these that put in commercials just for giggles, right? Anything like that, you're going to just tell me where it's at. And you don't need to give me specifics. You can just say musical interlude, commercial here, right? Commercial break, things like that. Just enough to give me kind of the feel for the pacing. Okay. And you're going to put brackets around those because that's going to call them out to me. Your podcast has to be 2 to 4 minutes long. That's really what we're aiming for. I'm not going to kill you if it's 1 minute 50. That's close to 2. Not going to worry about it if it's 4 minutes 20. That's close to 4. What I don't want is something that's 30 seconds long. I don't want something that's 10 minutes long. I want something that's in that neighborhood of 2 to 4. Okay. About 700 words will equal 4 minutes. That'll depend on the speed that you talk at, right? That's that speed of delivery. It'll depend on how often there are pauses, if there's music or sound effects, things like that. But roughly 700 words, okay, is kind of the maximum you want to go. That means about 350 words, give or take, would be about 2 minutes. Okay. Make sure as you're starting it that you introduce yourself, the title, and your topic. All right. Hi, my name's Chris Gall, and welcome to the Aztec podcast, where we're going to talk about how the Aztecs can help us appreciate life today, right? Or how the Aztecs can help us better appreciate our Mexican-American neighbors, things like that. Okay. That's what I mean when I say introduce yourself, the title, the topic. Then you've got space to do your writing, right? I put boxes there. You don't need to necessarily fill the boxes. All right, so that's the basics of how to rough out your podcast. We are going to record and turn it in next week. Quick caveat, if you get this done earlier in the week, right, or even if you want to wait a little bit next week, I will give you feedback on your script. I'll tell you where I think it's strong, where I think it could use some work, and you can firm it up before you record and turn in the final project, right? So that's my vote for waiting to get this back before you actually do the recording. That final project, I do expect you to record it. Using a cell phone to make an audio recording is fine. Using your webcam to make an audio or a video recording is fine. However you want to do it, I will leave that up to you. Just know that it does need to be recorded. All right, if you have questions, if you need any help with anything, by all means, go ahead, reach out, let me know. And otherwise, I will see you in class.